Yeah, we're live on Brunch with Brian. Good morning, everybody. Good to see you here. And it's actually Social Media Day, National Social Media Day. So I would think I might want to talk about that, but I wanted to actually talk about. I'll mention that. I'll mention what social media websites I think you should be on for sure, and then I'm going to talk about. I want to talk about prep work. We've been talking about organization this week. On Tuesday, hey, if you want to get a copy, if you missed our Teaching Tuesday call, and we talked all about organizing your business and organizing your life, and that was a really powerful session. So if you missed that and you want to get a copy, just send an email to support@thewolfcouple.com. That's where you can reach us anytime, support@thewolfcouple.com, and we will shoot you a link to that recording. So organization is so important for your business. Isn't it, a big girl? Yeah, and you need to have an organized, I want you guys to be organized with your business and I want you to be organized with your life. And so what to have a successful weekend, okay? Obviously it's Friday. So if we're going to have a successful weekend this weekend in our real estate business, what forms do I want you to have printed off and just ready to go all the time? All right, so this is sort of like your prep to get your mind right and to be able to say to yourself, so all I need to do is talk to a seller on the phone, one FISBO call, and that turns into an appointment, and I'm ready to go. I've got all the paperwork and I'm ready to make calls too at the drop of a hat. I'd like it if you could actually be doing some task and then complete that task and then think, well, I got a few more minutes here before I have to do my next appointment or whatever. I think I'll just call a couple of FISBOs or I'll call a couple of realtors. And I want you to have those scripts right there printed. So what I want you to print to just have available in your office at all times is, I'm going to give you a list here. I want you to start off by having 20 closing call prep sheets. Closing call prep sheets. Remember, these are all forms that you get in your forms folder on the What to Say system. Okay, in the What to Say system, which we used to charge $2,000 for that system, and now we're giving away for half of that. So that's a great investment if you don't have that system. All these forms I talk about on Brunch with Brian, that's where they are. So anytime I come up with a new form, I put it in there. Closing call prep sheets are important because as you're doing your opening call, that's where you take notes. And sometimes if the opening call is going well, you'll transition right into the closing call. And then you'll have your closing call prep sheet there with all your notes on it. And you'll know exactly what the hot buttons, the seller's hot buttons are, what your deal that you're going to propose is. Is this a subject to? Is it a seller financing? Is it a sandwich lease purchase? What kind of deal is it? What's your backup deal if that deal doesn't work? Okay, so that your closing call, that one sheet, that one closing call prep sheet that we use in our business and that we have all of our students using is really powerful and maybe one of the best forms in terms of just functionally for your business, one of the best forms I've ever done. So closing call prep sheets, print off 20 of those. I'm just going to say 20, but you can always print a lot more. Okay, so 20 closing call prep sheets. I want you to print 20 FISBO opening calls. Make sure you're using the newer one where there's a little box on the right side towards the top that says square footage, bedrooms, bathrooms, and year built. Okay, that's helpful. I just put that there in that little square because it gives you a good read on the house at a glance. And also it saves room in another area so you have more room to do other things on the sheet. So FISBO opening call scripts, print 20 of those. Now, I talked about filing before, and on Tuesday I talked about filing. On Monday here, I talked about filing. You can always go back and watch prior Brunch with Brian's, actually. If you missed a Brunch with Brian from Monday, go back to the Monday one because I go into your filing and I actually show you I'm doing some filing right now and catching up on some paperwork, some boxes since we moved. And so that's something that's a good thing for your paperwork. And we all accumulate paperwork in a lot of different areas. I'm not going to go back to that. I can feel the draw. I want to talk about that too. But go back to Monday and look at the part where I talk about filing and keeping organized. But your FISBO opening call scripts, all your scripts should have their own little file wherever whether it's a box or whether it's a desk drawer, a file drawer in a desk, you need to have a filing system. So again, this is going to be, depending on how much paper your life has generated over the years, how many medical issues do you have? Because that's a whole fat file for some people. And some people that's not such a fat file. Okay, and then there's other things like home stuff, like all your systems, all your repairman, everything you buy and have a warranty on, and all that stuff. That's all your home in your home file. I got sucked in. I'm talking about filing now. Okay, but obviously you need a box or something like that. Somewhere, your papers are all going somewhere, and you need some kind of filing system to stay organized. So when you are filing your FSBO opening call scripts, so you're printing 20 closing call prep sheets, you're printing 20 FSBO opening call scripts. It just says FSBO opening call. You're printing 20 listing realtor opening calls. Okay, 20 listing realtor opening calls. Then you're printing 20 landlord opening calls, 20 landlord opening calls. Then it's a list, I told you, 20 landlord opening calls. Now, when you call landlords, who picks up sometimes? Property managers. So you should have 20 property manager opening calls. Okay, that's uploaded into your forms recently. Property manager opening call, I think that's the most recent one I've revised. Okay, and then there is another one called the off-market seller opening call. So if you are driving for dollars and you see a distressed house and you can look up the phone number, just track them. You can look up a lot on, if you just put an address in Google, stuff comes up. But you can do searches, all kind of searches. You can search your county records. You should get good at that, by the way. You should figure out how you can go into your county records and pull up property information on properties. And other people too. So you can check the ownership of a property. So let's say you drive by some, junker house and you see it's clearly vacant. You take down the address. Now there's tech programs that will search that address, do it like a skip trace, and figure out who owns it and, give you some information. But you can look up a lot of that online. And you can look up some of that stuff at your county, in the county records, if you can go online to access county records. So find out who owns it and what script you use to call someone like that. For that, you use the off-market seller opening call script. Okay, the off-market seller opening call. So I want you to, if you have all those, that's basically all your opening calls. So the one nice thing, one positive aspect of the creative financing business versus other, like buying REO properties from banks or something, is that you can connect directly with the seller and you can make that first step. You can reach out without marketing. You don't have to put any marketing out into the field, to make a phone call on a house that's for sale. So you can for sure get some action going with all those different approaches. And maybe, who knows what the best area will be for your area. Try all of those, and that's where trial and error comes in. Call all of those, opening calls. Again, FSBO opening call, listing realtor opening call, landlord opening call, property manager opening call, and off-market seller opening call. So try them all, see where you're getting the best results. These are really great scripts. Obviously, you guys know I used to work in Hollywood, and I've written over 20 feature-length movie scripts and about a dozen TV episodes. So I know how I got very good at conversational language. So you're going to love the scripts. And the great thing with these opening call scripts is the form is built into the script. So the script is there, but all the spaces you have to fill in is also in there. So it's really a nice way, symbiosis with those two parts. Hey, good morning, everybody. Robert, hey, good to see you here in WL. All right, hey, Lynette, awesome to see you here. And Lee, Lynette and Lee, our married couple investors there. How great is that? And your name is even Lynette, and Lee is my middle name. Isn't that funny? Oh, yes, that'd be great. I'd love to take a trip with you guys. So, guys, the other thing is, once you print all those off, you can start to generate your own business just by doing outbound calling. Now, how do you find these leads? You go on Zillow and you open up Zillow and you put the city in there. Now, when you put the city in there, then it's going to all come up, and then you have to click on this one little screening thing that says more, and it says there's one part that says for sale, for rent, or sold. Okay, so and you have to click on the one that says for sale, obviously. So then you should have a whole bunch of red dots popping up. When you look at Zillow, it's the red dots are for sale, the yellow dots are recently sold, and the purple dots are for rent. Okay, for the purple dots, it's kind of, this is a good way to see what houses are renting for in the area. People are always wondering, well, what's the rentals estimate? And sometimes you can look up the rentals estimate, but sometimes it's not in there. So what if there's a property with no rentals estimate? You can stay on Zillow and just go back to check that one little thing, put the city in, or wherever you're at in the city, put the city in, and then put for rent, check for rents, and then you'll just get all purple dots. And then you can zoom in and say, okay, all these properties around here are renting for $1,100 to $1,200, and it'll say on them like 1.1K. So you'll go, what does 1.1K mean? It means it's renting for $1,100 a month, and it's a purple dot. Okay, so that's a good way also. That's a really good little golden nugget for just checking rental values in an area in a second by just going on Zillow. So once you're on Zillow, you pull up your city, then you go for sale, click the for sale, then go over to the right, and then you're going to have to, there's two things that come up. There's listed, and then there's another category that says other. It's two tabs over on the right. Now, when you click the listed property tab, there's a lot more. There's usually, maybe 10 times more properties there than under the other tab. So when you're going to listed properties, you have a lot of properties you can check out. You can call. What script do you use? Obviously, you use the listing realtor opening call script. Now, there's a whole process for that, and I want to teach you that. And we have this realtor event coming up, but we're having a little trouble picking a date because our summer is a little, we have some other stuff going on here. So we're going to pick a date in the next month here, and we're going to do this realtor event because part of that listing realtor opening call, that's one part of a 30-step system. It's a 25-step system for doing the realtor marketing program. So I want to go through that with you. And you know what, maybe I'll go through it, kind of give you an overview on a brunch for Brian next week. But again, that is one of the scripts I want you to call. So we pull those properties up, and what are you looking for in those properties? You can even do sorts. You can create lists, and you can sort by over 30 days listed or a price reduction is basically what you're looking for. So anything you see in there, and guys, the properties are listed. Usually you go to the end pages. So you're going to get like 15 pages of listings, and you got to go all the way to the end because the older ones that are older listed are there at the end. Usually they list them chronologically, so there's different ways you can sort and all this, but just for, for quick access here, you want to go to the deeper pages. That's usually the properties that are on the market. Although sometimes it's weird because in some markets they're mixed up, and you'll see a property that's been recently listed, but then, they do other things like they update it. So sometimes it gets mixed up. It's not always chronological, but that's why you just go through the whole list and see what's on there. Okay, so call listing realtors, and then obviously click the other tab to call FSBOs. Now, every FSBO in your city, and every FSBO in your city is not on Zillow. There's other FSBOs. Sometimes people just stick a sign in front of their yard, and that's all. Their whole way they're advertising that it's a for sale by owner. But pretty much all the listed properties through realtors are also on Zillow, unless the realtor really messed up. It's an automated thing in most markets where once they post it on the MLS, it goes on Zillow. So you don't have to go to an agent. This is a real boon to you, and it's a real change in the market. Before Zillow, you had to have an agent to find properties for sale, unless you wanted to just drive neighborhoods. But now you can go on Zillow and you can search for listed properties, and you can see, you can find a lot of listed properties, all the listed properties. So those are two of the calls, but this can prep you guys. Now, what forms do you have behind those forms? You got all those opening call forms. You got that closing call prep sheet. You also have I'd like it if you have the Zillow listing up on your computer when you're calling the person, because then you can make comments about the pictures, and it's just helpful. And then the next thing you need after the closing call prep sheet: the opening call scripts, the closing call prep sheet, and then the closing calls. So if you want to make sure that there's just that one closing call guide that you should have that comes with the upgrade. And that's just that little pamphlet kind of thing, the little booklet that has your main 3 closing calls in it. Now that's the subject to seller financing and sandwich lease purchase. Okay, now the other thing is that I want you to be able to access all those scripts on a tablet. So if you do have the upgrade, if you don't have the upgrade for the what to say yet, we do give you a free tablet. I mean, it's just basically cost. So all the scripts are preloaded on the tablet. So some of our students will actually be using the tablet to be reading their scripts instead of the manual. So have the manuals, have the closing calls. Just make sure those at least those big 3 closing calls scripts are right next to you, because what if you get a great closing call going and they're saying yes to everything and you got to close it? Don't hang up and say, okay, I'm going to check my comps and call you back. No, just see if you can make the appointment right there, transition into the closing call and just make that appointment. So you got to have those opening call scripts, your closing call prep sheet, have your closing call scripts handy so you can transition right into them if necessary. And then I want you to have buying packets ready so that you could just, like, if you said, hey, could I come over now? Are you at the house right now? And they said yes, I would love it if you would now I want you to type out your agreements. So I would say, okay, I'll be over in an hour and a half. And then I would type out your sales agreement according to whatever you decided on the phone. So what forms do you absolutely need to have ready to go in your buying packet, so you're very confident that you can just race out and get a signature and get a house? You need a standard purchase and sales agreement. And now the form that we have for you is a letter-sized form. I sort of massage the form to make it letter size. And now it's easier to print, it's easier to deal with. You don't have to carry those long manila size folders anymore. So it's just easier. It's easier for filing too. I don't like legal size paper of any kind if I can avoid it. Okay, so you've got your purchase and sale agreement. Obviously, that's the most important thing. Then you're going to have your authorization to release information. Get that signed, authorization to release information. If the person super trusts you and you just are bonding like crazy, you could even have them sign a limited power of attorney. That's like taking that standard authorization on steroids, putting it on steroids. It specifies that limited power of attorney only has to do with the house, nothing else, but just the property. So once you're building a lot of good rapport, if they sign that, that's a lot of trust. Okay, so then I also want you, but right for the main packet, just the first time over there, the 3 things you got to get signed is the standard purchase and sales agreement, the authorization to release information, and the lender change of address form. Okay, so that's if it's got a mortgage on it. If there's no mortgage on it, you don't even need that. So, but if there's a mortgage on it, I want you to get that signed right away so that you can be very clear with the seller right there. That really gives you an excuse to just explain to the seller, don't talk to your mortgage company anymore. Because what is the one way that we have ever had trouble with possibly triggering the due on sale clause? The seller calls them. The seller calls them themselves and says, hey, I'm selling my house, and I think somebody else is going to be sending you payments from now on. Or, remember, this is nothing, the mortgage company is never alerted, and they don't care anyway, just as long as the payments keep coming in. The only goof up is if the seller talks to them. So and you're not, the way you present the form is, okay, so this is awesome because from now on, we're going to take care of everything with the mortgage company. You don't have to worry about a thing. So if they ever call you, just tell them, hey, go ahead and speak with my management company. Just call us your management company and then just give them our phone number. Okay, if they ever happen to call you. But that's why we're filling this form out here, because see here, it says that all future correspondence is going to us now. And so you don't have to worry about a thing going forward. So that's it, guys. That's all the paperwork. That's all the prep work I want you to do to be ready to go buy houses and have, 2 or 3 buying packets. I recommend 5 buying packets ready to go. There's more stuff you can put in there. And if you want to know all that, go and pull up the form called Seller File Checklist. Seller File Checklist. And there's some more forms that you can print and stick in there. But those 3 are really all you really need. The attorney can do the rest. Okay, so that basically is the whole paperwork set, exactly what to print. And anytime you got a couple of minutes, I mean, don't make it a big deal. Don't have to like, I got to psych myself up for at least an hour before I'm ready to make my calls. No, just do 2 affirmations. I am a real estate winner. I am awesome on the phone. I am a master caller. Okay, or 2 or 3 affirmations, and then pick up the phone. You've got the scripts printed right there, and just start calling people. And it's easy to look them up on Zillow. You could have all these even waiting for you, so it's like a list ready to call. And then just anytime you got a free minute, it doesn't have to be some big laborious calling session. In fact, mostly the way the leads come in, usually it's not like you're sitting there calling 10 new leads all at once. It's like as they're coming in, I want you calling them back. So it might be that you really are only calling 1 or 2 or 3 at a time in most situations. But anytime you have extra time that you could be making outbound opening calls to fresh leads, that's always an awesome way to spend your time. Wow, did I go long today? I've never gone over 20 minutes. I am so sorry, everybody. But this was just lots of great information today, and I really wanted to set you up for the weekend. Now, don't forget, it's also social media day. We have a whole system to teach you social media. So if you have any questions about that, call the office, 888-RICH now. I know you guys have made all these great comments and do a lot of driving. That's good. Driving for dollars is great. So I can't take all your comments because you guys are so awesome. You're always saying everything. Happy Friday, everybody. Oh, great, William. I'm so glad you said that. Happy Independence Day. Obviously, it's next week, but have an awesome holiday weekend. Some of you guys are stretching this out to a 4-day weekend. So that's awesome. So have a wonderful 4th of July. My dad was actually born on the 4th of July. So it always means a lot to me. And we have a lot of illegal fireworks. So we always have a good time. So, all right. It's great to see everybody. Have a wonderful weekend. And I will see. Oops, I forgot to do our deep breathing and our affirmation. So our affirmation, okay, we got to go fast because I'm so far over. Our affirmation for today is I take action on the weekend. Okay, ready? Because you're all set up and you know exactly what to do. I take action on the weekend. Ready? 1, 2, 3. I take action on the weekend. I take action on the weekend. I take action on the weekend. Yeah, we always say it 3 times. Then we do our deep breathing. Nice deep breath. Always a big smile. Okay, another one. Oh, that always feels so good. Always reinvigorates me. One more. Awesome. All right. Wow. Great day. Have a wonderful weekend. Like I said, until I see you on Monday, keep expecting success, getting awesome training, and of course, taking action.